All right, you guys go look at the VuPointz page, and you'll see that it's live. Shit, Sherrika just punched in, but I see her. Okay, just I can't come right now. So just tell them I don't know. We live. We live. We live. What's up, everybody?
the thing? How you mean? What's the thing?
What's up,
Brooklyn.
everybody?
You guys can't see me on the live.
Welcome, welcome. We want to welcome everybody to the official. It's the official first show. This is the VuPointz. You know they say knowledge is power. Hey yo, welcome Jada man.
You don't know. Get how you think. We're in a place.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Shout out to Brooklyn Honey 23 in the place. What's up, Brooklyn?
Yes, big baby. I am here and ready with the spice, baby.
Hey yo, Jada, you good? You good?
We're gonna do what we do. You don't know. I feel what things that up.
All right. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? And we want to welcome you to the inaugural episode of the VuPointz Talk Show. And you know what they say? They say knowledge is power. So we are here to talk to the people and empower a generation. Brooklyn, what are you saying, baby girl? You good to go?
Yes, I am good to go with the hot topics. Are you guys ready for the hot topics?
I think we're ready. We're ready. Jada, what you saying, brother?
Yo, we're gonna do our thing, fam. Yo, we've been getting mad love already. And yo, we just wanna say, yo, we're sending that energy out, a blessings thing, a love thing. And yeah, we're gonna do what we gotta do for these streets, man.
Yes. And
all right, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna load up that IG. So yo, Brooklyn, load up your IG. Jada, load up your IG. Let's go live on that IG so we can get
live
in that network.
I'm live already, B. I just need you to send me the link. And
all right.
Good.
Tuning in on Twitch, if you're tuning in on Facebook, if you're tuning in on YouTube, share the link. If you're tuning in, turn it up. We want to welcome y'all to the show. This is VuPointz, and we are here. We are here. It's been a long wait, but we're here. We got a great show lined up for y'all today. We got lots of special guests lined up, ready to talk some knowledge to the people. We got Jay Martin, we got Sherrika, we got Arifah, and we got Louis Smart in the cut. All right, so we're gonna get started with the show, and I think it's only fitting. That we start with a little introduction about ourselves, just so that people know who we are and what we're about. Right, so let me just start with myself. So my name is Ja Wiggs, graphic designer, promoter, DJ. Been in this business for about 15, 20 years, right? Times of Corona, everybody's home, everybody's using the internet, and there's so much misinformation out there. So I said, I gave the idea, I said, yo, we need a way to empower the generation. We need a way to spread the knowledge out there because there's lots of facts, there's lots of fiction. We need a way to gather all this information, bring it into one place and spread it outwards to the youth. So I linked up with my boy Jada, man. I said, Jada, got this idea. Pitched it. I said, what do you think? Jada said, yo, that was a great idea. Jada, what you saying?
Yeah. So what I said was, yo, me and Wiggums go back from, you don't know, about 6, 7 years old, you know what I mean? Black thing, you don't know. I remember man chucking into bar class when we're like 7 years old. You know what I mean? And we've been down ever since. Certain years passed by, but you don't know, we reconnected in the 2000s and this link has been stronger than ever. But yo, Wiggum shot me and said, yo, I have this idea for this show. And I said, you know what? I've been meaning to do something like this because, everybody knows my thing, right? It's straight empowerment. It's straight, you know what I mean? Let's make it out. And then I said I had this idea for the show and boom, bam, but I had no time to deal with it. He said, yo, I got the platform set up, all of that. And I said, yo, let's get it done. But you know what? We got to bring in my girl, Brooklyn. Brooklyn, talk to them, my girl.
Yeah, so of course when my boy Jada man hit me up, we go way back like throwbacks. So when he hit me up, I was down for the cause because he already know, like, we've been doing this for a very, very long time. So anything that's positive, anything about, spreading the words, spreading the knowledge, the love, and stuff like that to our peoples, I'm down for. So he's been my mentor from day one when I first started to rap. So, he put me onto a lot. So I had no other choice but to say, let's get it and let's give back. Of course, be the voice of the young people. That's what we're here to be.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. But we didn't really introduce ourselves. So yo, I'm Jada Man, artist and overall just man of the people. I do what I have to do. Um, people can have their lane as far as what they do and who they're catering to. My piece is just the people that grew up in low income neighborhoods. The place we call the streets. That's my thing. That's where my heart bleeds, and I'll do anything for my people. And that's what I'm about.
Facts. I like that. I like that. I like that. And you know what? That's the kind of vibe that I know you've been on, because remember, we've been friends from we were youths, and then we had that gap where we kind of went our separate ways and did our own thing. But in the meantime, I've been watching your social media. I've been watching your vibe, and I was that's why I kind of had to link you. And when you were telling about Brooklyn, and you were kind of telling about Brooklyn, I said it works. Brooklyn, let them know about you.
yes, so I'm the one and only Brooklyn B Honey. Um, I'm a rapper. I'm a host. I'm a community activist, and I'm also an an actress as well. I do it all. You name it, I could do it. Anything I put my mind to, I make sure that I get it done. Anything for the streets, anything for my peoples, I am there. I've been working in my community and outside of my community for a long time, still fighting the fight of gun violence and everything of that nature. So, like I said before, anything that's for my culture, for my people, I am down. And I'm trying to be the voice of the females out here. There's not a lot of female hosts doing their thing, and I'm trying to be that number one spot that everyone be calling. So
We need
holla at me, man.
female energy. I was telling this man
I got
said,
that
yo,
spice.
he said, yo, we can't just be up here with two males. He said we need that. The man said we need that female energy to keep that vibe. So we here, right? So
Medea.
Yo, you know what, Wiggs? They told me that they can't see us. They can only see on Instagram Live, on IG Live, right? So we gotta, it's a work in progress. Pandemic. We just figuring all this out. So I guess the main person gotta be, you know what I mean? That set up there. Yeah.
all right, so with that being said, if you're tuning in on the IG, right? To get a full visual experience of the Viewpoint show, it is suggestible that you log on to the Twitch platform. That way you get to see all three hosts and all three guests fully as the show was meant to be displayed. So we are glad you are here. We love to have you here for this first couple shows. We do want to build the vibe and get the crowd here. But we do suggest that you please log on to the Twitch page, the Facebook, the YouTube, uh, to get the full visual experience. All the addresses are located at the top of the page. Right now, the best platform to log on is the Twitch. So if you search Twitch at VuPointz, you'll be able to get the full visual layout on the page. Other than that, if you are to log on to our individual platforms at Jawigs, at Brooklyn Honey 23, or at Jadaman, you'll be able to view the Viewpoint show in an Instagram live layout. All right. And with that being said, I think it's only time that we start the show. And I think the first segment of the show,
Mhm.
that going to get that vibe going, should be none other than the vibe of the week.
Yo. This segment here is the vibe of the week. Yo, listen. So my thing is music, and everything that channels through music and pours out into the streets. That's me. So we're gonna start things off like this every show. It's the vibe of the week. So it's a track, song, tune, however you want to call it, that I've been vibing to for the week. All right. So moving forward, if you have a vibe of the week, so something that's getting you by for the week, we want you to send it in. All right. So message us at vupointz@gmail.com, or message any of the platform through any of the platforms that you use. All right. So right now, my vibe is on this cat right here, and we're gonna tell you why. Just drop it. We ain't even saying anything. DMX, the dog.
Yo,
Let me
Jada,
tell you.
let me ask
Mm-hmm.
you a question. What about that song? I know X has been in the news for the week, but what about that track? Has got your vibe.
Yo, with me, that was, I remember getting his first album and just laying down with a Walkman on. A lot of these kids don't even know what that is. And listening to every song, like he was different. It felt like it came from around our way, our walk of the woods, dog. And as I listened to him, everything that he was going, the pain in his voice resonated. You know what I mean? And that was one of my favorite artists growing up. And so everything that's going on with him, we're gonna touch on that. But that was my favorite song, man. So that was my favorite song by him. So I said, you know what, we gotta do him justice, and so we gotta run that. It's called Slipping.
I hear that. I hear that. I hear that. I'm feeling that. That's back in the days, back in the '90s. That was one of the tracks that I used to love from X as well, because X has a lot of them hype songs, but there's a lot of times he goes deep with the music too. So I rate that. I rate that a lot. I rate that a lot. Big up X, and shout out to X for what he's going through as well right now too. Shout out with that.
So what y'all said, Brooklyn? Ready up?
You know what? You know what I think it's time for? I think it might be time for.
Yeah, before I spit the hot topics for y'all, there's a lot of hot topics, a lot of things going on the internet and stuff like that. But your girl always keeps her ears and eyes to the streets. Yes. So before I do that, yeah, little key and juice. So as you guys know, our boy DMX is in the hospital. He had overdosed on the weekend and was committed to the hospital. One thing I could say is that DMX, growing up as a kid, listening to him got me through a lot. Growing up in the hood and stuff like that, songs that he was spitting was hitting. Like you felt it, because it's just like sometimes it was like right outside of your front door, or you may have been, you may have witnessed or been a part of. So you could relate a lot. So our prayers and thoughts are going out to DMX, his family. Everybody just needs to keep praying, because we can't afford to lose another legend. I feel like every year we're losing legends one by one, and DMX is one legend that we cannot afford to lose. So, they did have a prayer visual for him. People are still out there praying for him, and you know what I mean, and playing his songs and stuff like that. But one thing I can say is that they said that he's going to go under a couple brain tests to see what's going on. So I just want everybody to keep your fingers crossed, keep praying, keep him in your thoughts, and we're gonna, he's gonna, he ain't slipping. He gonna fall, but he gonna get right back up. So, so obviously I'm gonna get into the juicy stuff. So we went from, as you guys know, Quavo and Saweetie breaking up to Elevator fighting, just like Jay-Z and Beyonce and Solange. And now we got our very own from Toronto. They're going through their little mishaps, their little dirty divorce that's going on over there. Of course, you guys know LaToya Forever and Adam Ali. They're going through a very, very, very nasty divorce, and they have gone public with a lot of their, a lot of their thoughts. Everybody knows that LaToya is known for putting her business out there, and we love to watch it. But seeing one of our peoples from our own city go through all that drama, not really feeling it. So let's hope and pray that, they will hopefully, get things together, because there are kids involved, and once kids are involved, you kind of have to put your feelings and egos to the side, and think about the kids.
Hey, hey, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I was taking in some of this Latoya Forever and whatever the next guy's name is,
Adam,
And I
don't be rude.
no, no,
Don't be
no, no,
rude.
no. I'm just saying I'm not sure what his name is, but Adam. It's a little shaky. It's a little shaky. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but I'm gonna let you do your thing, and we'll double back to that.
Okay, it's shaky because it can get messy. But a next thing that I was looking on is day 8. They just wrapped up day 8 of the George Floyd trial. It's still going on. Everybody knows about the situation that happened last May. The tragic incident with the police officer with his neck on George Floyd's neck for about 8 minutes and 45 seconds. Don't quote me on that. And it's just day after day, it's just been emotional. It's just been outright. Just imagine watching the video for 8 days straight of a man losing his life in front of millions of people, because cell phones and all that type of stuff. So it wasn't in front of just a couple people on the street. It was in front of millions of people. And we all know that we, as Blacks, as African Americans, as as they call us, the urban community, we go through this a lot. Our culture, we go through this a lot. Police brutality, racism, it goes on and on. Colorism, it goes on and on. But it's our job to stand up for what's right and to seek justice in any way, shape, or form. I don't mean go out and fight fire with fire. We're not going to do that, or violence with violence, but we're going to protest. We're going to stand tall together. And as long as we come together, we can and we will be better and we will do better. We have to start within ourselves, though. So my condolences to George Floyd's family. They did say, an officer that was on the stand did say that a couple officers said that it wasn't protocol for him to be placing his neck on the suspects, on George Floyd's neck, due to the fact that he was handcuffed and he was restrained. So, over and over, just watching the testimonies, listening to them, it brings you to a dark place where you just want to go out and do bad things, but we can't and we won't. And we're just going to keep praying and hoping and seeking that, justice is served at the end of this trial. So last but very not least, Mr. Doug Ford. Okay. Everybody knows that we are now back on a 30-day lockdown and we are tired of it. I know I'm tired of it. I know you're tired of it. And the reason why I left Mr. Doug Ford for last was for the simple fact that he's going to bring us into what you guys all been waiting for, and the guests and everybody and all of that. But just to put a little snip and give you guys a little update, yes, we are on a stay-home lockdown, which was made official today at 2 p.m. So starting tomorrow, everything will be closed. If it's non-essential, it will not be open. Guys, in order for us to go outside and be able to live, obviously we won't live a regular life right away. Let's just follow the rules. It's for 30 days. Let's just do what we got to do. I know some of you guys said it feels like a bid. It feels like this. It feels like that. I know some of you guys are trapped up in with your baby mama that you don't want, or your baby daddy getting on your nerves. I get it. But guess what? We have to buckle down so we can get out of this, because what is the solution? Hopefully they can find a solution. Hopefully some of the experts that are here today can enlighten us and let us know. But that's all I got for hot topics. Dirty dog. Dirty.
Well, in relation to some of what you said, this whole Doug Ford situation is a whole serious situation, and I'm kind of glad you brought that up, because it does tie into today's topic. But before we get into today's topic, now, before we get into today's topic, I just want to touch on something that a lot of people have been asking me about during this whole lockdown situation. A lot of people say to me, Joe Wiggs, what do I do for my business? How do I keep my business going? All these places are locked down. I'm not sure what to do. Well, I just want to give you all a quick 1-2 tips to help fine tune your business. In the time of lockdown, you should never sit and stress about the things that aren't happening, right? If you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, and whether you're selling a product or a service, never sit and ponder on what is not happening. Take the time and leverage your business, leverage your promotion, leverage your marketing to either a new client base, maybe change your promotion strategy, up your promotion tactics. There's many things that you could do in order to keep your business productive and keep your business moving. Sometimes you got to invest in yourself monetarily. Sometimes you got to invest in yourself through time. But you always got to remember one thing: when it comes to your business and your brand, nobody is going to care about your brand if you don't. So you always got to make sure you take care of business. So again, my name is Ja Wiggs, and that was a quick tip to help you fine tune your biz. Right? So now we are going to get into today's topic.
I like that though. I like that. Like if you all didn't really pay attention to that, like those are some key gems, and we're gonna be dropping these segments every week.
Every
So
Wednesday.
every Wednesday. So if you want him to run it back at some point, send an email, send a message. We'll give you the tips. We're gonna, after the show, we'll post the clips from the show and that sort of thing. But tune in. We're here for you.
And if you're watching, do remember to like and subscribe on the social network pages. You can follow us at VuPointz on IG, on Instagram, and at Twitter. Share the link if you're watching. Make sure the volume's up, and welcome to the show. We do have some great guests here today. Before we introduce the guests, I do want to introduce today's topic. One of the hottest topics actually for the past year, more specifically the last couple of days, is the new Ontario 28-day lockdown that was imposed by Doug Ford. I believe it was just a couple of days ago. So we're a couple of days into the lockdown.
No, I said he just changed it at 2 o'clock. So we're at a stay home. You cannot go anywhere without. At 2 o'clock, he just released a press release and said that it's a stay home lockdown, which is implemented for 30 days starting tomorrow. So forget the one that he put for us before with the 25% restrictions indoors, all that. That you can only go outside for essentials. So if you're not going outside for essentials or you're going to work, you have to stay home for 30 days. That's what it is. So we're back to square one all over again.
Well, that's one thing I've noticed. I've kind of been reading over the last couple of weeks, back in December when they first put that stay-at-home order, and then when they kind of changed it into lockdown. When I'm reading a lot of the paperwork, the lockdown is pretty much the same thing as a stay-at-home order, meaning where you're only really allowed to leave for work or essentials and things like that. Isn't that kind of what it's been going on for the whole situation, pretty much?
No, because with the lockdown, the malls were open. The patios were still open. Things were still open. Now, when it's a stay home, all businesses, all restaurants, everything has to close. Remember, they went to gyms. They started to open back gyms. Everything is locked. So you can't go, no movies, no indoor where they said 25% in stores. All the malls are all closed, everything. So it's a real shutdown.
And for me with that, I'm gonna tell people to be careful with the gatherings, with the parties, I remember when it first went down, as far as the first lockdown, and one of my brothers was telling me, his friend was in the car with his sisters, and because they didn't have the same address, they got tickets. It was at the time it was it was anywhere, it was like $500 to $700 tickets each person, right? So yeah, so it's crazy. So if we're now at a stay-at-home order, I'm saying you guys really just watch what you're doing. Stay at home to the extent where you need to. Let this thing blow over. Here's the next thing I think. After this round of 28 to 38 days stay-at-home order, if the government does not release and have a little leeway with this and free people up over the next couple months, the place is gonna riot. People are just they're not gonna take it. It's hot. It's getting hot. They're not gonna go for it, and people are fed up. I'm seeing it online. People are fed up with the vaccine rollout, what Doug Ford's doing, how they're handling the situation. So I don't know.
They're not handling the situation the way that they're supposed to be handling the situation at all. The fact that you guys are saying that anybody under 50 cannot get the vaccination right now, and everybody over 50 and whatever can get the vaccine, but you guys are here on the news every other day saying it's the young people who are spreading the virus. But why aren't they getting vaccinated so fast if they're the ones that are spreading the virus? That's my thing. Then another thing, you guys are now saying that women under 50 have a chance of getting blood clots because 15 or 16 women in the UK, after 2 weeks after getting the vaccine, they develop blood clots. So now you guys are saying that there's one of the vaccinations that women can't get who's under 50. So now it's like you guys are throwing the vaccine out there, but then you guys are telling us that there could be side effects, or there could be this, or there could be that. And some people are still contracting the virus, even though they had both doses. So it's like, why should people want to get up and go and take the vaccination if at the end of the day, if I take the vaccination, I still have a chance of catching this deadly virus? What's the point? So I agree with you. People are going to riot. It's going to get to that point. I feel it shouldn't have to get to that point. But as you can see, the protesters are already downtown for the non-mask, the anti-mask. They're already down there. So just imagine when everybody else joins along with them. It's going to be a problem.
Yeah, you know what? And I don't like what this is doing to businesses. I'm going to tell you the truth. I see in the States, I'm not saying we need to just free up. I'm seeing some baseball games and it's at full capacity. I'm not saying that. But what this has done to small businesses, people will never be able to recover. You know what I'm saying? Like a salon or a barbershop has the capacity to have their appointments, you know, and fully make, you know, each staff functional and equipped to, you know, have the degree of separation that you require and sanitization pieces and all that. And it hurts my heart, man. It hurts my heart. I'm not gonna lie. But Wiggums, what's your view on it?
Well, what I actually think, this is a good segue for us to kind of introduce the topic and bring on the guests. So just like how you guys are talking about the lockdown and the stay-at-home order, I think that kind of ties into a good thing we should talk about is what are the actual effects of another 30-day lockdown or / stay-at-home order? Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a teacher or a student, whether you're a musician, or whether you're an elderly person, whatever type of Canadian you are or Ontarian you are, what is the impacts of another 30-day lockdown? So we do have a couple of guests that are going to join the panel. We want to thank the guests for their patience. I'm going to bring them on one by one, and we're going to have Jada Man introduce the guests. And the first person I would like to introduce is Jay Martin, and Jay Martin is a comedian in Canada. And Jay Martin, are you ready to go on? All right, Jada, man, you can intro Jay Martin once he comes on.
Do it properly. Don't play.
Jeez.
The boss.
Yes.
I take this seriously. I take this very seriously.
The boss. Hey.
You know how I do things. You know how I do things.
Yo, Jay Martin, listen, man, the Jay Martin, he's one of the best comedians in Canada.
Probably in the world.
In the world, definitely North America. I haven't seen too many people on the other side of the globe, but we know that for a fact. I don't know what room he's in or who painted that room, but that's another story. But outside of that, Jay Martin is a man that he gives to the next generation, and he provides platforms, and that's why he's on the show, right? So he and I, we have a big brother, young brother relationship, and I do for him, he does for me. And you know, when I shouted him, I said, "Yo, I need you on the show." He just told me, "Tell me the time," and I'm there. So it's all love, big man. So you done know a link up.
Like, let me be Brooklyn. How you doing, love? You good?
Hi.
Man, I see everybody, the team, y'all put together their work. I'm really proud of the work y'all put in today. When he called me, it was not even a question asking. He thought I wasn't even going to show up because I wasn't in no long argument. I was like, yes. What time? Like 3 words. There's nothing to talk about. People, I know y'all know me and support me and love me as a comedian in the city. Let's deal with the facts at hand. We can do jokes and all of that stuff. This is my 4th Zoom today. So I've had to reform into this new rule of how we're doing this thing to survive. But as an entrepreneur, as Jada Man tells you, everyone knows I'm an entrepreneur. I jumped from the corporate world 14 years ago, and I've gone full 100 on all my TV ideas, movie ideas, show ideas, the Buck Pocket parties, the J. Martin comedies, all the things that you guys supported. And now we're sitting in a situation right now where the government is not allowing us to do anything. And yes, it's supposed to be for our safety. But when we look at our counterparts in the South, as you said, stadiums are open to 38,000 people. Texas has a rate that's dropped since they've dropped the masks and dropped the rules of opening everything up in Texas. The rate is actually dropped. Now, I'm not here to tell you we got to do what the Americans are doing, but obviously you guys have had one whole year. This country has had a year to do everything, and there's no country in the world that obeys what the leader is telling them like Canada. You guys need to look around the world. We listen. Like in Jamaica, they have to be on army people to keep people inside. You understand what I mean? Here we are in Canada, everyone obeying. It's come to the point that when Brooklyn said it beefed up even worse than what we said at 2:00, no one even batted an eye because we're just so used to being incarcerated. You get what I mean? And once you're incarcerated, it's like going from, hey, you're going from, you know what, you're in lockdown to moving to another lockdown. You're just incarcerated. Like, you know what I mean? And I get it. People are like, Jay, what do we do? Like, we can't even get the vaccine if you want to and you're under 50. You can't get it. So you just sit in your house for a year not doing anything. And it's affecting a lot of the businesses. You keep saying small business, Jada Man, big business are getting licked too. Like, it's a steamroll. I have friends in the business that have wedding places, like the amount of weddings and funerals and events, chefs, cooking spaces, we're all getting licks. And the only thing that's keeping us from what you guys both said in terms of revolting is the fact that they send a CERB check. Let's be clear here. In America, they don't have a CERB. They have one stimulus check for $1,400. Here, people, the only reason why you don't have the people going mad is because of CERB. It's it.
Which is now turned into the CRB.
Exactly.
Canadian Recovery Benefits.
Exactly. So now that you go through that, and I know you know the system, now that you're going through that, that's the only thing that's silencing our people. So that revolution that would come on however we're going to solve it, it gets negated because no one wants to ramp with the check that comes every week. But let's face it, for years, Black people have been fighting the stigma of being on welfare. And look what, no, the whole country's out, the whole province is out.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them. The same rich people are like, get out of here, you welfare. They're needing the check to keep their lights on. You understand what I mean? Because there's no other ways. So really, systemically, I'm gonna let other people get their talking in, but systemically, it's a hard place. Creatively, as I'm going to encourage all of you that are in the arts and the music form, please do not leave this situation not better than you were going in. Like, please, I am so stacked right now where TV shows, movie ideas, you guys see me on constantly where I've got my stuff together because before I was too busy gigging that I didn't have the time to put it together. So my business are tight, my taxes are tight, everything is tight. Go ahead.
That's what I love, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. When you know, when rough times happen, don't sit and ponder about the bad things. You took this extra time to do your taxes, to organize your. J. Martin, I did the same thing. My taxes are up to date. I've organized paperwork and things like that I needed to do for years.
Government gave the wrong people a chance to start the race of success in business on an even playing field. You get what I mean? You know the truth, Jada, man. We've always been one step behind. You're going to come out and make all of us come from a money situation where we're not equal and we have to go run that race. We're not losing. We can't afford to lose. So business people have to be allies with business people. The arts have to come together collectively. You know, before we were like, I'm a rapper, I'm a singer, I'm a comedian. No, we're the arts. And we all, you're not going to watch your show and not see my show. All of our shows are done. So we need to be a conglomerate that takes it to another level.
Now, with that
Beautiful.
said, what I also want to do is I want to bring in some of the other guests to join the
Mhm.
panel. Jay
Yeah.
Martin, if you don't mind staying on, and so we can have a nice discussion amongst
Cool.
ourselves as well.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring on Arifah to join the panel as well. Arifah is the executive director of Lifted by Purpose, and Jada, man, you could introduce Arifah as well.
Yes. So Arifa, we thank you for coming on. I know you're with a newborn, and it shows a lot as far as who you are. So Arifa, she's been doing amazing work, lifted by purpose, dealing with young people that have come out of incarceration, reintegrated back into society. She does a lot of mental health related work around the city and throughout the country. And I just thought, you know what? There's a mental health piece to what's going on here. A lot of people I've seen, I work in the community, I help develop communities as well, right? And I've seen suicide after suicide with young people. And it's just what is going on there. So I think that's where I'm going to transition, Arifa.
Mhm.
What is going on there? What's happening there with
Well,
the
first off,
COVID?
I'm just glad to be invited, meet everybody, talk. I was listening in, I have to start off by saying, all love, praying for DMX. DMX is one of my favorite artists. So I have to start off by just saying that because I've been praying super hard for him. And I was just listening to what everybody had to say. And, these are, especially with the hot topics, there's so many layers to this COVID situation, like being on lockdown. And, I know Sherrika mentioned, just like the stuff with the George Floyd trial going on. And it's like, you got to take in all these layers of things that are happening and how it's impacting people's mental health. So it's not just COVID. It's not just being, locked inside your home, but it's also like a lot of the visuals and, the things that we're seeing as well, and not having an outlet anywhere else to like express and have those deep conversations outside of your home with your people. Right? It's not like you can like run outside and, hit dominoes and, have these conversations anymore. You're on lockdown, right? So it's like just taking that in. And I don't say, I try my best not to say social distancing, because I feel like when we put out the fact that we shouldn't be socializing, that also has a huge impact on people, like mentally just thinking about language and like what things mean. So I always try to say like, we're just physical distancing from each other, for now. But on talking about the lockdown and its impacts, so many ways it's impacting people. Just the mere fact of, not knowing how to organize yourself. So a lot of times people are like, they're used to that 9 to 5, the structure that has kind of been embedded on us, especially if you're not an entrepreneur, right? You kind of followed this structure of 9 to 5, break times this, lunch times this, and now everything's just shaken up. And it's like, no, you know what? It's like you're working from home, you're figuring out like how to organize your own space and time and your workload, manage your children, manage your relationships. Like you're at home doing this for the most part, right? And that in itself is overwhelming to people because this is so new to them. And also just the whole like 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago, barbershops were about to open, right? Like my son has
Not
the
no
biggest
more.
afro right now. Real talk, my son has the biggest afro right now. And he was so excited to just have that, that commodity that you get at the barbershop, that social aspect of just talking, saying what's going on at school, how you're coping. And, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, the barbershop's not opening. So I agree with like Jada Man and what Wiggs was saying in terms of even the impact it's having on entrepreneurs and businesses, small businesses, because they themselves can't financially plan, and there's not a lot of support from the government for them as well either, right? So you have that aspect more so around people just trying to figure out how to organize their life, and that's been overwhelming. And all you have to do is sit down and you're thinking about your bills, right? You're thinking about the people you can't see. I know a lot of people whose, their family members passed away. They couldn't travel out to bury them. So they were doing, memorials on Zoom. There's people that couldn't, limited amount of people to go to the funeral home. So even in Toronto, a lot of people were like, hey, my fam passed away. And, immediate family went. But, the external family, we couldn't go. So you got to look at the impact of all of that too, like the grieving process and, people being able to kind of heal together, and now we're trying to heal alone, right? So
Beautiful.
yeah, like it's true. And even like Jay Martin, he was just talking
Mhm.
about creatively, some of the things, like people used to work in silos, and now all of a sudden it's like we're all in this together, right? We're all dealing with this together. And so what is it that you can do? So some tips I want to share is, really, it starts at the base of like home. Like
Mhm.
this, like I'm all about back to basics, right? So when you're looking at back to basics, it's the things you never had time to really focus on and do. Now it's like you're at home in your mind, you're in your head all the time. So it's like I heard Jay Martin saying, "Oh, it's the first time I got my taxes done on time." I'll keep it real. It's probably the first time I had my taxes done on time too. So I was laughing when he
See,
said that,
that's
because
beautiful.
my accountant even said to me, like, "Arifah, you're hyping me up." I was like, "Yo, I had everything PDF ready to go."
So,
So it's like,
Arifah,
That's a
let
yeah,
me
positive.
ask.
A
Yeah,
positive.
let me ask you a question, because that's a
hmm
theme, right? Slowing down. So,
yeah.
how necessary in our overall life is that piece as far as slowing things down? Like,
It's
tell us about that.
extremely important. It's so important because our minds are running like 1,000 times a minute type of thing. So in average, on research, they say most people have 60,000 on average thoughts in their head a day, right? Half the time you're thinking about bills, relationships, picking up the kids, all that stuff is running. But most of the time we had an outlet, right? We had an outlet to shift it. So it wasn't like I'm at home and those 60,000 thoughts are going on. So that's why I say you got to go back to basics, because when you're overwhelmed like that, it can affect you. We're talking about high levels of depression. You have people, that are living with addictions and they're sitting at home. And some people were, when you're going through addictions, you're always living as an addict, but you have your coping strategies. You have your go-to support person to call, right? And then all of a sudden things are a little bit more challenging. So that's why the overdoses are up right now. That's why when you're talking about mental health, you have so many people in crisis right now. Suicides are up. All these things are up because people are left to deal with all these thoughts and all these things that have been going on with their life, and they don't have these outlets they really had before. So that's why I say, when you're going back to basics, you got to look at life like, hey, you know what, things have changed. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I only know what today is, and I got to figure out what to do with that, right? So simple things like back to basics, I'm talking about, like in your home, finding a spot in your house where you make that your tranquility space, and it doesn't cost much. Like, you can go to Dollarama, pick up things. I use the Corner Shop app, and I just order things on there, or Amazon, and I make sure back to basics things in that particular room or in the house are comfortable for me, because I know I'm here. So it's
Yeah.
like the fluffy pillows, the comforters, the essential oils, the incense, getting a snake plant, because it actually adds oxygen into your home, because we're lacking oxygen by being in the house, right? So you got to open your window. If you have a balcony, you step outside on your balcony, you chill. You know what I mean? You can hail up people from the next side on the balcony, get to know your neighbor. You know what I mean? But you got to figure out, like, okay, like, I'm in this situation. What do I do? There's mad shows right now on Netflix. I probably exhausted them. There's stuff on Amazon Prime. There's things on, I'll just throw out some free stuff, soaptoday.com, if you can get like all the shows on there. But it's like finding the creative outlet where it's like you can channel some of those thoughts in a different way. And then also your support system. We still have Zoom. We still have WhatsApp. We still have a lot of, social media. You got Versus. That's a way for you to connect with community. If you can connect to your friend like you used to, because they can't come to your base, you can still find ways to connect with people, right? So it's like you really got to utilize that social support, build a community. As Jay Martin was saying, creatives now, this is your time. And it really is. It's your time to connect with people and say, hey, I want to work on a project. Do you want to get involved? What I like about this show right now is you have a comedian, you have an artist, you have a graphic designer. You guys all came together here, and then you have me as well. I can't leave myself out. You know what I'm saying? But everybody came together and said, how do we utilize our skills and our knowledge and and really connect and give something back to the people. And really and truly, that's what creatives need to be doing. It's like you have the time that you never had before to really sit down and get creative. And
Yeah,
same thing with
thank you.
individuals, same thing
So
with the
so quick
individuals.
so quick question before you I don't know if you can stay, but we want to bring on we're gonna Wiggums wants to bring
Mhm.
on the other guests. Is there a website where can some people that are dealing with mental health
Mhm.
challenges right now go and access support?
So there's lots of places at the stress line. So sometimes, especially people that are really private and they don't want people in their business, and they haven't really figured out who they can talk to about certain things. I always say there's always a person for something, or there should be a person for something in your life to connect to, right? So distress line is a helpline. It's 416-408-HELP. There's also on Instagram, and even if you look up Black social workers, Black psychologists, there's a whole stream of professionals that you can reach out to talk to. Right now, if you go on our website, www.liftedbypurpose.com, if you go on our resource page, we have from the arts all the way down to community support, a bunch of resources that people can just click and access, like one-stop shop. We have that there. And if you go on our Instagram page at Lifted by Purpose, we actually put up a self-care guide today. And we usually try to put up resources. So like I say, if there's always something someone's asking, reach out to people that you know and say, hey, you should never kind of hold in trying to ask for help. We all need help in different
Everybody needs
situations,
help.
right? So it's like, don't feel ashamed. A lot of us have pride, but don't have pride to ask for help. There's people out there, and if the person you hit up isn't willing to support you, don't let that shut you down. Reach out to somebody else, right?
Everybody, exactly.
All right,
So what
love.
we're gonna do is we're gonna
Yeah.
put some of those links that you mentioned in the comments as well, so that people have direct ways to get support if needed. Because again, we're not just here talking. We're here to help provide the support. So that's why me,
Yeah.
Brooke, Data Man created this platform so that we can help bring on people and help empower the generation.
100%. And also, I just want to add, and food plays a huge role too. So it's like while you're home, the things you put in your body is really important. So make sure that you're investing the money that you have in solutions or the things that really are there to support you, right? So I just want to make a point of that.
Well, thank you for that extra information as well, because that's also very important. Food plays a role in your health, your energy, all of that as well. So,
And
what
music too,
well, I got the music, and Jada and Brooklyn's all about the music, so that's our
yeah,
vibe. Music is a healing for me as well, so
for sure.
that's one of the things. The next, if and like Jada mentioned, we're gonna bring on Sherrika. If you have time, you can still stay on the panel because we want to have like a discussion amongst ourselves as well. But I want to bring on Sherrika. And Jada, man, you could intro Sherrika as well.
All right. Sharika, you there?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you. So I'm not gonna be too long-winded, but this is Sharika Cooper. She's a teacher, an important person in my life, and she's doing a lot of amazing work within her world, and doing a lot of stuff to push for equality and fairness and equity with students and racialized people, specifically Black people. So I'm going to leave it there. So just know she's a woman of substance and a woman that's on fire. So Sharika, welcome to VuPointz.
Well, thank you for your kind words, Jada Man, who I know as Pops. I'll just spill the tea. Jada Man is my older cousin, so it's a family thing right now. But thank you for your warm introduction. So, yes, my name is Sherrika Cooper, and I'm an elementary school educator. Currently teach grades 1 and 2 at a public school in the Weston Road and 401 area. Um, yeah, this I have to say, for a lot of people, this lockdown is going to be detrimental. You know what I mean? I know some people who have just gone back out to work, and now this lockdown is probably going to affect them. Um, Within the past week, we've had a little bit of shaky instances at my school. So my classes had to shut down. So for the last week and a half, we've been at home, doing online and remote learning. And for some students, it's just not the way that, they are effectively able to access teaching and learning, you know what I mean? But at this point, there's really nothing that we can do. My principal always says improvise, adapt, and adjust. And we've had to do that many times in the past year. You know what I mean? So
So let me
I
ask you
think,
a question. Let
yeah.
me ask sorry to cut. Let me ask you a question. So what is the so there's a lot of us are parents, right?
Hmm.
And there's a lot of challenges. Well, you and we want to hear from you. What are some of the challenges with the stop and go of the lockdowns and the change ups and what you can do, and how does it impact families? So mothers, two parent families, mothers, single parent families. Like
Right,
what are you hearing? What is that? And is there a support system in place for that sort of stuff?
right. Your support system for some people, it's only comprised of the school. We service a lot of newcomer families. So, English might not be their first language. So teaching them how to navigate, being in this system, the school system, how to access services within their community, it's tough. I've in the past few months, I felt like a wicked person. I'm sitting here uh, delegating and trying to teach 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds how to share Google Docs, how to create slides, 6-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like, I can only speak of my class, but I have to say, like, how proud I am of them and how well they have, had to navigate this system and learn on the fly. You know what I mean? Because really, there is no time not to get what we're doing, So, um, last week
Is
when
it?
I came back
Hmm.
home, it was because we had a case at our school. So it wasn't specifically in my classroom, but my classroom was affected. So you know how the rules go. If you have a close contact, anybody in your household has to isolate for those 14 days as well. So let's rewind. I have a 14-year-old daughter, a 3-year-old son. They're both home. My daughter is learning remotely. My son is here. For him, it's home and it's daycare, he's doing his
Hmm.
thing and I'm teaching while he's here. So, the past week has been a little bit of a challenge, but I have a really good relationship with the families that I service and the students. So I say, listen, Josiah's here. He's going to be here for as long as we're here online, until he's allowed to go back to daycare. So we're just going to have to be a little bit mindful. If you hear a scream in the background, you hear something drop, it's him. So don't be alarmed. But I
Well,
know, there's a lot of parents who unfortunately are not there in front of the computer when their children are learning. You know what I
So
mean? And if I can't support them through the screen and there's no support at home, then it's really hard for them to navigate the educational system as it is right now.
so just let me just ask. So quick question as well. In your
Mhm.
situation, so you're with your teaching the class, you're teaching online from home
Online from home.
because like similar to your situation, I have like I have I have a 4-year old, 11-year old, and an 18-year old, right?
Okay.
So that's three people. That's three kids home online. So
Right.
just like you said, imagine, and I'm lucky to have both parents. Both of us are here, so we're able to toggle back and forth. But
Right.
sometimes I sit here and say to myself, imagine the single parent in the two-bedroom apartment who now has three kids at home
Right.
trying to run internet on three different
Hmm? Computer.
to
Hello?
maintain and trying to keep everything consistent. That alone, like, could drive people crazy.
It's it's been a challenge. I always pride myself on the relationships that I build with parents. So oftentimes I'll hear my phone ring and it's a parent calling me saying, we're having trouble getting into this, or how can you support with this? And I'm just one of those people that's always willing to lend the helping hand, and there's not always going to be a teacher that's willing to do that. You know what I mean? I might get a call at 8 o'clock in the morning. I might get a call at 7 o'clock at night, but
Well,
I'm
respect.
I'm I'm the kind of person that's gonna pick my phone up, because they wouldn't call if they didn't need the help or the support.
I have a
Well,
question. Sorry. So I have a question.
Mhm.
So for the parents, for instance, I know I'm not a parent myself. Soon,
Mhm.
hopefully soon, but I'm not a parent myself. But a lot of my friends that have kids and things of that nature, a lot of them were getting a little frustrated because of the curriculum. They weren't really, from the time that they used to go to school, and now the curriculum is clearly different. So
Right.
what advice would you have to parents that don't really understand the curriculum, but are too afraid, or a little bit prideful to even ask? And then the
Right.
next thing is, how do you deal with kids that don't have internet? Like, for the kids that don't really have access to internet,
Mhm.
what are some things that maybe you have done, I don't know, or what is some advice you can give to parents that may not have that type of access?
Right. I think there's nothing to fear but fear itself. In this time, we can't be prideful. You know what I mean? If you need the help and the support, you ask. Sometimes I'll notice that I'll have a student who I haven't seen for a few days. I'll pick up the phone and call. Um, I have on occasion stopped by and knocked on their door. You know what I mean? But that's just me because I want to make sure that everything is good on that end. But yeah, I feel like there's enough information out there that there shouldn't be a lack. You know what I mean? And in terms of not having the technology pieces at home, like within my board, we've done a lot to ensure that that isn't a challenge. I know that a lot of students aren't able to access the technology just because of you know um, their inability to just really comprehend how to get on. You know what I mean? Like, not all kids learn at the same pace. I had a real celebration today with a student who, has kind of been struggling for the past few months accessing the platform that we use, and she was finally able to share her screen. You know what I mean? And this has been months of trying. So, that's going to be a celebration that I continue to remind her of each day. You know what I mean?
that,
So
and that's
I think
actually
that boards have the ability to put certain things in place to ensure that the students have what they need, like providing internet, hotspots, Chromebooks, iPads, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, those are on point. You know what I
I
mean?
love that. You're like one of
Mhm.
those teachers. I just actually put up a meme where it was like on my page, or it's like, that one teacher that's cool, like with everybody, like everybody loves that one teacher. You remind me
Mhm.
of my teacher, Mr. Skinner, who no matter what, education came first, and he made sure he would teach you in your basement if he needed to. He would
Right.
keep you after school. He would
Mhm.
make sure that you were
make
you
sure
were
you're
good. And to be very honest, we need a lot more teachers like yourself. There are teachers like yourself, but I understand sometimes you guys don't get the recognition that you deserve. But I'm
Mhm.
letting you know, especially being a woman of color, and being a success and being very successful. Both of you women, beautiful women that are on here, I commend you guys, and I thank you guys for going out there and fighting the fight for us, because putting kids' educations first, and putting people's mental health first, and things of that nature. It's
Mhm.
hard to find people that are that genuine. So I thank you, and I salute both of you beautiful women that are on here.
Yeah, definitely. Because with on the education angle, and on the mental health and support angle, even myself, I'm hearing a lot of great information and feedback from both of you ladies, as well as Jay Martin. So definitely thank you guys as well for sharing that information, and spreading it out to the masses as well. Also taking your time, taking that extra time in your own personal lives to make sure that you're not just punching in at 9 and leaving at 5, we love and we respect and we need the love and support from people like you guys 24 hours a day. So again, thank you and respect to both of you for everything you do in your daily lives as well.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here.
Now,
Thank
with that
Thanks for
being
you.
having
said,
us.
I also want to bring on Mr. Lewis Marsh to the panel, and Jada, you can introduce Lewis as well.
Mr. Louis March.
Can I can I get a piece of that intro? Because you know I love
Brooklyn,
my
go do
Louis.
your thing. Brooklyn, go do your thing. Do your thing. Do your thing.
Yes, everybody. Yes, I had a pleasure of working with this man. Yes, this oh, I don't even know how to put these in words, but Louis, this man right here has done a lot for our community, for communities across the GTA, and he continues to fight the fight that we are fighting, that we fight every single day. And the fact that he puts his heart, his soul, and everything into what he does for our community, and for everyone, I really, really, really appreciate you, Mr. Louis Merch. I love you. You already know zero gun violence. I love you. So I'm not going to keep you up. I'm going to give you the floor and you bless us with that knowledge as usual. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Brooklyn. Thanks each and every one of you for creating this forum and opportunity. Before I start, I'd just like to thank the ancestors, the people that have gone before us and paved the way so that we can do this. Uh, Sometimes we forget them, but I will never, because I know the struggles that they went through are sometimes 10 times more than what we are going through right now. So I give thanks to them. To each and every one of you, thanks for sharing your wisdom today. We're going through some turbulent times now. Turbulent times. And for the young people, I'm extremely concerned because as we talk about essential services, we never talk about the young people, the youth. Everything that was safe or productive or positive for them has been shut down. Uh, Even the school, I'm hearing serious concerns about students that have checked out because they keep shifting the goalposts, they keep shifting the finish lines. So you set your mind on something and you get ready for it. Then all of a sudden they switch it on you. And adults have difficulty navigating these constant changes. Imagine what the youth are going through. And I'm not hearing any discussion about the youth then, right? All the spaces where they used to congregate, where workshops used to take place, meetings used to take place, just congregations, they're not there anymore. So where are these kids now? And who's reaching out to them and who's concerned? Yeah, I work with Zero Gun Violence Movement. I'm the founder. And one of the basic challenges that we have is this whole concept of zero gun violence. When a lot of people don't believe it's possible. When I say, I do swear every now and then, so please bear with me, right? I say, fuck you, right? You know? The reason I say that, the
It's
reason I
real.
say that is
For
because
real. All right.
I know it's okay. So maybe a family show. So, but
No, no,
anyway,
it's we'll edit anything that's too vulgar. We
okay.
edit
Thank
out
you.
after. So
But
talk your
sometimes
mind.
I get angry. I get really angry at people that say it's impossible because we already have zero gun violence in the city of Toronto, but only in certain communities for certain people. So I'm saying if they can have zero gun violence in Rosedale, why can't we have it in Rexdale? Why can't we have it in Regent Park? What's the differences, and why do we accept the status quo and continue to feed on the garbage put out by the politicians, the media, and the police about gun violence? So whether it's Brooklyn, whether it's Jadaman, whether it's a free, look, we work with a network of people across the city, trying to change people's mindset, and then now you throw COVID in, right? I looked at the numbers today, and gun violence shootings compared to this time last year is down 33%. Homicides are down 10%. And people ask the question, how come? The how come is easy. The mobility, guns coming across the border, drugs coming across the border, all those things have doubled in price. You just can't do your business. You can't do the hustle as you used to do it, right? So that's a significant impact. What my major concern is that I'm hoping that we're not putting a lid on this violence for it to explode at some later time. And that's why we have to use this opportunity to reimagine our situation. And some of the speakers have spoken about this already. How do we make the adjustment? Right? I'm concerned about the single parents that have to go to work because they're providing essential services and they've got 3 children at home. And the older one who is 16 has to look after the 2 young ones to keep them in line in terms of schooling and stuff. I'm concerned. Right? Who's speaking about these people? The vaccines, someone has spoken about it already. We know the areas, Northwest, Northeast, Toronto, where a lot of the people are being tested for COVID. But they're the ones that are getting the least amount of access to vaccines. Why are we getting left behind again?
Yeah.
How come? And are we going to continue to leave our destiny in the hands of these politicians, these decision makers, and we remain on the sidelines? So this forum is important because we're going to be asking some difficult questions. Jadaman is here. I know that. Brooklyn, sometimes when she speaks, I have to put my fingers in my ears, right? Because she has no filter sometimes, right?
Louis, let me ask you a question, right? So, because I'm like you, like I'm progressive, and I'm one of those people that think if whether it's individual or as a collective, if we want to do something and we put our mind to it, it can be done, right? But what about my brethren who says to me, "Yo, B, that ain't gonna make a difference. That ain't gonna make it. What me and you do ain't gonna make a difference. Nobody else ain't listening to us. What do I tell him? How do I get him to, not to say change his mentality, but other than just keep, talking, what do I do for that guy? What do I do for him?"
What you're doing right now, lead by example. Because these kids can smell a rat a mile away. Because everybody's been speaking to them for how long and have delivered nothing. So why would they trust anybody? Even I have difficulty trusting the people that are talking to me about gun violence.
Yeah.
We work with the mothers who have lost children to gun violence. We work with the people responsible for it. People that have done the crime, done the time, and want to make a difference. I'd rather listen to them than listen to the verbal diarrhea coming from the politicians. Right? So we have to lead by example. And we have to give them alternatives. And we cannot give up. In 2005, there were 52 people that lost their lives to gun violence. How many of them could have been prevented if we were working better together?
That's true.
Last year we had 30, I think it was the high 30s. How many of those lives? Like, we work with the mothers. Today I just talked to another person who lost her cousin to gun violence on the weekend. Her trauma, her grief, right, is immediate, and there's no end in sight for it. Because this is the second time the mother lost her son to gun violence, right? How many of them could we have prevented if we work better together? That's our challenge. So lead by example, do what you must. Brooklyn is doing her part, right? Jadaman is doing his part. Arifah is doing her part. And I'm going to tell you something. If you were not doing the work that you're doing right now, the situation would be worse. It would be worse. So that's why we need to continue doing this work. Like, we don't have a measurement that says, well, this is how many people we saved. But when you step forward, right, you step forward with purpose. You step forward with confidence, because your reward might not be immediate. It might be later on. That's why we do this work. So COVID has just complicated things. I'm concerned about the students that have checked out. I need them to check back in. Check back in. That's the message that we have to deliver to them. Because the system is not going to cater to them. Right? They're not going to understand their circumstances under normal conditions. With COVID, you think they're going to get any more resources? Hell no. So we need to help them.
So Louis,
the right direction. Step in.
So,
That's
so Louis, let me ask you a question, Louis.
Yeah, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Are we
Loud and
check?
clear.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Loud and clear.
No. We didn't want to stop the passion. We didn't want to stop the passion. So for that mother or that father that has that young person in their home or that person in their home that is on the brink, they see them on the cusp. They're ready to go out and do and get into it, right? And get into the street life. What's the messaging? What's the strategy around there for that mother who's calling her sister? Man, I don't know what to do. Man, I don't know what to do. I put him in basketball. I put him in soccer. I tried this. I tried that. He's just still with these friends and still he's looking like he's inevitably going down that road, and it's not going to look good. What's the strategy or what's the messaging for that parent or those family?
Look, I've said it many times and I will continue to say it. The communities are not underserved, they're poorly served. The programs that are out there sometimes have no connection with the reality of what the kids need. So even if somebody phoned me, and Jay, I've received that phone call many times, and I said, who do I direct the mother to or the father to? Which program do I trust? Which one will pick up the phone and answer it? Or pick up the phone and return a call? Right? We have challenges with that.
Now,
It takes a community to raise a child, and we don't have the community anymore. Oh, no, sorry, a village to raise. We don't have the village. I grew up in Spanish Town in Jamaica. One pot of food served so much people I couldn't believe it. I had 10 mothers and 10 fathers. If I did something wrong, I had to answer to them all. I could dodge 5 of them on a good day, but I couldn't dodge them all. Everybody had their in my business, right?
Yeah.
But this was the village mentality, and we've lost it. So Jay, to answer your question simply, we just got to reinvent the village now, in a new time frame, because the village of the past cannot be the village of the present.
so
So what do we do to provide supports and reliable resources that we can call on? Because some of them are not. So to answer your question simply, we have to reinvent this village, and we have to have our support services that are reliable and dependable. Because sometimes with these kids, Jay, you know it, you get one shot at affecting or influencing that decision that he's going to make. And if you miss it, sorry for you, sorry for me, and sorry for us. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Williams, where you want to go? So just to
So I had something she wanted to punch in.
go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to, Louis, I really appreciate you for speaking on that about like the whole like the village and everything, and us just kind of really looking out for one another, because it is kind of lacking. I feel like especially in terms of people working in silos and just being so used to that, and a lot of that has to do with funding and so many other ways that we're all kind of like, you know, like the crab in the bucket, we're all like fighting for things rather than collaborating, right? So the challenge for me is we don't 100%. I feel like one of the things that needs to happen is we just need to be better listeners. Like I'm all about back to basics, better listeners. We don't really listen to what the Mandem and other people are trying to tell us. We don't sit down and really take in the information, take in the situations, and give them practical like solutions. We give them like this fantasy of how they can do things that's not realistic. So a lot of times when they are reaching out to people and you refer them to someone, the person that's giving them the information on what they need to do is not realistic for the situations that a lot of them are in, right? So it's like you really do have to connect to people who could say, hey, you know what? One, I'm listening, like I'm truly listening. If there ain't no answer for it, don't give them a fake answer or like an answer that's cookie cutter. To say, I don't have the answer for that. Let's come up, let's innovate, then let's rebuild whatever it is. But there are a lot of things out there that are already working. But the fact is, one, they're not funded properly. Two, a lot of people aren't even aware of it. We're not educating each other about what is out there. So one, we got to listen. Two, we got to educate ourselves about what's out there. And 3, we need to be able to figure out how do you apply that information in a way where people are going to take it in, because we're not talking like about, there's young people that are incarcerated right now. They can't get bail. You know what I'm saying? There's people where it's like when you're talking about like police and stuff, you have to remember there's people right now because of COVID, police are coming to people's doors and they're, and knocking and giving them their documents. Like, do you know how traumatizing that is to open your door and there's an officer there just to serve you your documents because of a traffic violation or something? Like, these are things people are actually going through. We have a lot of young men, when they find that trust with somebody, they're calling from prison, and we've seen a high increase of especially young men actually reaching out for support because they can't deal with the situation of being locked up, incarcerated, and having all these COVID restrictions on top of that, being locked up, right? So they're now calling for help, and they're now referring other prisoners to get help too. You never really seen it like that before. But when they see they're getting the support and it's realistic based on the situations they're in, they're going to reach out. They're going to forward. When they come out, they're going to link you. You know what I mean? Because they know that person is listening and kind of has an awareness or empathy to what it is that they're going through. And that's what they're looking for.
But keep in mind that COVID has amplified the complexity of this problem.
100%.
And not only that, so a lot of the services and supports that we could at least call on, they don't exist right now because of COVID, right? We have something, we call it the funding Olympics, where the funders come out with money. They know who they're going to give the gold, the silver, and the bronze to, right?
That's facts.
And then everybody else has to fight for the rest. But in terms of fighting for the rest, you have to undermine each other. You have to badmine each other, other organizations, so that you can get your check, right? So the funding Olympics is not about quality of services and support. It's about quantity and who you know and who you don't know. So the money is not being, and that's why I say the communities are not underserved, they're poorly served, because the program and services that need the funding ain't going to get it because they do not play by the rules that the funders want them to play by. Somebody said to me the other day, straight up, Louis, for me to have an impact, I have to break the rules, but I can't let anybody know. Imagine that. Fucked up.
Well, so it's a crazy reality, but it is kind of true because we do know that a lot of people that reach to the top, sometimes they may take side steps, back steps, and the wrong steps that people think are right to get there. Now, in relation to what you were talking about in terms of the community raising a child, and in terms of the lack of, well, not lack of, but poor services and things like that, I wanted to ask Sherrika how that plays in with teaching and students. So going from 2 years ago where it's every day and all these programs were there, to 2019, 2020 when there were strikes every couple weeks, to 2020 when there was full lockdowns with school. How is the lack of funding and poor services affecting the kids? Because there's no sports, there's no music class. My daughter told me that for music, they were playing plastic spoons. And I was like, what? Plastic?
Right.
I said, plastic spoons even make noise? But how is that affecting what you're doing and the students and, the attention and the activity with what you've been seeing?
Right. So, like you said, a lot of the students, they're checked out. We started in person, we've gone to online, came back in person, and now we're back online. So I can only speak from my experience, you know what I mean? So the school that I teach at, a lot of the kids are bussed in from Weston Road or Jane. And a lot of them, they don't leave their houses down. So any outdoor activity that they were once getting, they're not getting because they are cooped up in the house. A lot of the experiences that they had with after school programming, those are cut. Music programming at school is cut because of the fear of transmission of the virus. The engagement of the kids has really diminished. A lot of the students who I know do very well in person, it's kind of lacking online. But it's like, you know, we can only expect so much from them. They're 6, 7, 8-year-old children. You know, we have 4-year-olds sitting online for 3 hours a day. Like, what is that doing to their mental health? You know, these are the fears that I have. You know, 2, 3 years from now, if this is the rate that we're going to keep going at, what is it going to do to these kids? They're
Yeah.
4 when they're 7. How is that going to impact them? You know what I mean? So
So
access to services that the schools are able to deliver, um, they're not there.
Just simple and
so
plain. They just
yeah, so I know we're in some trying times right now, but um, we've been on this topic for a little bit, and there's so many other places we can go. The vaccine, we can go on and on about all this stuff here. But what I want to do is I want to ask each of you, because you did say your views on how people can get through this, right? In the world that you live in and the world that you work in. So I want you to just leave us with that one liner or that one word that people need to hear as far as how do they get through this. So Sherrika, for you, so for families and teachers, sorry, families, teachers, the children that you deal with, how do they get through? Arifah, with you dealing with a lot of mental health pieces. So I want you to give out a gem for people, the community as a society as a whole. What can people do to get through it? And Louis, we know you're Mr. Zero Gun Violence. I want you to speak to those mothers or those families that are dealing, or you know what, speak directly to those young people or those people that need to hear something, because if they don't hear it, they're gonna go run out there and probably dash away their life. So if you can, I want each of you to just drop a one liner for those people.
Take the
If I
floor.
if I can go
Anyone.
first,
yeah, sure. You can go ahead.
Go ahead.
for me, it's you know, don't even though we are under stay-at-home orders, some of us are isolating. Don't live in isolation. Know your neighbors. You know what I mean? I've seen many a times where families whose kids attend the same school, they can walk past each other and not know each other. Like, know your neighbors. I've had parents support each other by picking up devices or lending a ride to another student, like when that was possible. Like, those are the things that we're really missing now. You know what I mean? We could have a next door neighbor who's an elderly person, needs help getting groceries. Those are the things that we can kind of, you know, lend support with. Find a way to help. You know what I mean? But be
Okay.
careful at the same time. That's all.
All right. Louis.
Yeah, I think for me, right, I think the important thing is it doesn't cost money to care. Make the call if you need help, right? And for those people that are in situations where you can, Jay said he's what, 3 or 4 virtual calls today. Get involved and reach out and connect with the young men there, right? Because it's difficult before COVID, it's more difficult now. So we have to reach out to them. We have to meet them in their places, right? And we have to. I like the way Afrika spoke. When you're talking to these youth, go in with 2 ears and 1 mouth. That means listen twice as much as you speak, because not many people are listening to them, because they're telling you that they're desperate, they need help, but we're not listening, right? So it doesn't cost money to care. Reach out and touch somebody, and then encourage them to do the same. And let's reinvent this village in a contemporary COVID infested time and start developing new skills to communicate and engage. Develop new skills and strategies to engage those that are in the most need, because we cannot depend on the government and these institutions to do this work. We have to do this ourselves.
All right. Beautiful.
Mhm. I
Arifah.
guess I'll go. Yeah. Like I've been saying all day today, I guess my tagline is back to basics. Because really and truly, that's what it is. Like the things you didn't have time for before, make time for now. Declutter your house. You know, when you declutter your house, you open space. You know, for yourself, because that in itself decreases your stress. Connect with people. We talk about connecting with our neighbors, connect with your friends, your family, talk. Get back to journaling, get back to writing, get back to thinking, playing cards with your family, doing blocks with your children. Like, all of these things are good for your mental health, but we've put them aside. Get back to thinking about how to budget, so that you can figure out how you want to move your money, how you want to navigate that, like financial literacy, access resources that are available online, like back to basics. Like, I'm just saying, take the time to figure out where you want to align yourself and what you need to integrate back into your life that you never had time for before. It's time to do it now.
Wigs. All right. Can
What's up? Yeah,
audio
so
good?
my
All
audio
right.
was down. So thank you all for those great words and those final recaps. Um, just listening to all the guests today, like I said earlier, I was able to receive so much new information and a lot of new direction in even ways that I wasn't even thinking about. There's a lot of things and little points that you guys all brought up individually. I'd like to thank you guys as well. Again, we will be posting the links to all our guests in the comments. So feel free to contact the guest if you would like to find out more information about some of the services they provide and some of the other platforms that they will be on. Jada Man, Brooklyn, you guys have anything to say about some of the conversation that we are heard today?
Can I just say something before we go there?
Definitely.
There's when we talk about the mental health piece, there's a group out there. It's called Black Health Alliance. Black Health Alliance. The person that's running that operation is Paul Bailey. When it comes to mental health in our community, access to the vaccines and all these type of things, he's my go-to person.
Okay.
Black Health Alliance. Please make a note of it. Check them out. Go to their website and
We
reach
will
out,
post that in the
because
comments.
he's ahead. He's ahead of the game. Even though he thinks he's not fast enough, but he's my go-to person when I have to deal with these issues. So please, Black Health Alliance, when it comes to mental health, the suicides, we've noticed an increase in that. The domestic violence, we've seen an increase in that, right? There's other forms of violence taking place. And that's why we've got to be there for each other. So Black Health Alliance, please make a note of that organization.
We will
All
definitely
right.
post those links.
Brooklyn.
Medea. Yeah.
All right.
So everything that you guys were saying, I totally agree with, and everything is connected because before the COVID situation happened, a lot of these kids that were going through gun violence had to go straight to school right after something happened in their neighborhoods or whatever, and their mental health wasn't there. They weren't there. They weren't physically in class because their mind was other places. So people like yourselves that are out in the community doing these type of works and work, like I said, you guys don't get recognized for get the proper recognition. To touch a little bit on what Louis said, when it comes to, everybody knows when it comes to the funding, it's all about the multi-million-dollar companies. They're forever going to get the funding. They know exactly who they're going to give the money to. We can do all these grant writings, all these fundings. We'll have all of our ducks in line, but yet for some odd reason, the people who are doing all the groundwork and the people that are actually out in the streets connecting with the communities, we, at the end of the day, we don't get that funding. It gets put over to, the higher ups, and they divvy it out to whoever they want to divvy it out. And the money that's supposed to be there, it's not there. And then, there's organizations that take the bread and don't do nothing for the communities. And then there's people in communities that need the bread and don't get it. So, at the end of the day, it's up to us to do something about it. I keep saying it. I can't say it anymore. It's not up to the politicians. It's not up to the police officers. It's not up to anybody. When it comes to our community, when it comes to building a community, when it comes to building a village and growing these youth and these kids and, building families in these communities, it comes up to us, people like ourselves, who individuals that, people that like ourselves, that people could reach out to, you know what I mean? So I appreciate each and every one of you guys, everything that you guys have done when it comes from the school system down to mental health, down to zero gun violence. Once again, thank you guys so much for being a part of this panel and being able to give some insight to a lot of questions that I believe a lot of people, was lingering. So thank you guys.
All right. And again, so before we get into the last couple segments, I just want to again do a great big thank you to the guests for joining the panel and for sharing all those words. If you can just leave the viewers with a direct method of contact, whether it's an email, phone number, or a social media link, so that they can quickly add you and follow you. And again, thank you for joining the panel. And if you're watching, the show's not done, so stay posted. But guest, if you can, again, we'll start with Sherrika, then we'll go to Louis, and then Arifah. If you can let us know your contact info.
You can connect with me through email, sherrikacooper@gmail.com. Most of my social media is Scoops1983. I can put that in the chat as well. So yeah, email is probably the best.
All right, thank you. And Louis, yourself?
Just go to Zero Gun Violence Movement on all social media platforms. You'll be able to link us through DMs. I got a personal phone number, 416-577-3908, and I will answer it. 416-577-3908. And email zerogunviolence.movement@gmail.com.
All right, thank you. And Arifah?
You can reach us at social media, so at Lifted by Purpose, which is for all social media. You can hit us on the phone number, 416-391-5270, and somebody will reach out and get back to you. We offer telecounseling on our website, so if anybody's looking for any counseling, you can directly go on our website and reach out to us.
All right, so again, thank you to the guests. Now, with that being said, with that great conversation that we just had, I think it's only fitting that we bring in some
Yo, you know what? This is the real talk segment, but this conversation was so deep. I think everything that needed to be said was said already. But you know what? Everything that we heard today reminds me of a quote, and that quote is, "It doesn't matter what happened to you yesterday. What happens yesterday doesn't matter. What matters is, what are you gonna do about it?" Right? So it doesn't matter what happened to you yesterday. What matters is, what are you gonna do about it? So if you're not moving, you're standing still. Okay, so if you're not moving, you're standing still. This segment, it was our first show, but the theme of it pretty much was, we gotta move. COVID is here, the pandemic is real, mental health is real, families are struggling, kids are struggling, but we gotta keep moving. We gotta keep building. We gotta think, because it's different times, we gotta do things differently. We gotta think differently. The same thinking that brought you here is not going to be the same thinking that you need to get you to the next level. So we gotta reinvent what we think and how we think. So get your crew together, get like-minded people together, and start building. We built this platform because our minds were in sync. All right. So I don't think we're better than anybody. We had an opportunity, we had a moment, and a little hard work and dedication and a little movement, and we got it going. So that's the real talk for this week. If you're not moving, you're standing still, and it's all love.
and I don't think it gets more realer than that. Shout out for those great words. Now, again, do not forget, this is the Viewpoint Show with myself, Brooklyn Honey 23, and Jada Man. This is a weekly show. We do it every Wednesday, and we punch in live at 7. You can check us out live on Instagram, live on Twitch, live on Facebook and live on YouTube. Search at VuPointz. Or if you would like to join the panel, or if you have a question or a topic that you would like us to discuss live, you can hit us up on the email at vupointz@gmail.com. Or if you have our direct links, you can hit us up on our personal pages at Jadaman, at Brooklyn Honey 23, or at Ja Wiggs. Again, this is the Viewpoint Show. Brooklyn, any final words for the viewers?
You know, I always have a few words for the viewers. But before we go, no, not stop me from top my things, you know. No, not stop me for top my things, them. So before we go,
Well, on the Brooklyn. Before
Drop
you
it.
start the thing,
you skip over a minute, Yes, sorry everybody. I know that we were going, you know, I'm just gonna talk the things because usually talk the things is before, you know, we get into the real deal Holyfield. But a girl like me, you wanna know say my mouth not giant church. So I gotta keep it short, sweet, and petite, just like myself. So we gonna get it cracking, baby. So I know we had a little sentimental getting, you know, get your mind right, but I'm gonna uplift you, baby, for tomorrow, baby. So this goes out to all the dirty people them that love to live a dirty lifestyle. And when I mean a dirty lifestyle, I mean when you go to people's house, you know, when you walk into somebody's house and it says, when you come here, what you see here, what you do here, let it stay here, don't come back here. That right there is a bonding contract. So when you walk into my yard and you see things in my crib, your job is not to go back out and talk to Tom, Dick, and Harry and let them know the business. You understand? And if me and you stop being friends, that's not your job to let everybody know what goes down in my house, okay? Because from you step in my house, that is a binding contract, honey. And that right there allows me to beat your ass if you go running your mouth to other people about what goes on in my house. So if something's out of place, you leave it there, okay? That's my house, not yours. And that's just for anybody who goes to anybody's house. Keep your mouth shut, keep your eyes straight. And, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes, you know, you go to people's yard and they may just be having a bad day, but it's not your job to come in and judge me, because I'm not judging you on the fact that you have 4 different baby fathers by 4 different men and all these types of, I'm not going to get involved in that, boo-boo. I'm not about to do that to you. And the fact that you dating my friend Sharon, me not gonna tell Mitzi about that, but that's on another show of Talk the Things, them baby. So, as you guys know, my mountain a giant church, and I'm short.
Now, one, yeah.
Lord of mercy. Well, if the things never talk, me think it talk now.
Yes, because I'm bright sometimes. You know, you guys are Jamaican, so I know you guys. I know when you guys walk into your mom's house, if there's not a Bob Marley poster that's in the crib, that definitely that sign of "Don't come here," whatever, is on almost every Jamaican wall. Okay, and that's a binding contract. When you step in my house, that's a binding contract of you're going to comply to what's going on there.
What you see here, left your son.
Yeah, that's
And we
it.
out. And we out. Viewpoints, you don't know.
Tune in next week, people. Bless up and thanks for tuning in. If you see the link, share the link. If you're tuning in, turn it up. It's the Viewpoint Show. We out.
Wait back, wait back, wait